Hey everyone, it's Chelsea with Savannah in studio. And today for Embodied Yoga Flow, I thought we would do a little bit of exploration around consent, the idea of setting boundaries. What do boundaries feel like? What does no and yes feel like within our bodies? And just workshopping and discussing what consent can look like for us and what it feels like within our bodies. So, as usual, we begin embodied yoga flow by warming up our bodies, getting into our space mentally and physically, making sure that we're taking time for ourselves to work through the process and begin to integrate any wisdom that comes up during the period. As always, feel free to use any props that you would like to use, whether that is a bolster, blankets, towels, blocks, textbooks, yoga ropes, just whatever you need to feel comfortable in your space and in the poses. The poses themselves can cause a little bit of discomfort, so it's paramount that you make sure that you are setting up your yoga space to help keep you safe and secure as you explore these concepts. We'll begin. We'll begin in a seated crisscross easy pose position with our hands on our thighs or our knees, elongating our spine, turning your awareness inward toward your breath. I invite you to either close your eyes or soften your gaze as you begin to feel your breath flowing in through your nostrils, down through your chest, filling your belly, before returning to the space around you through your mouth. Noticing the pace of your breath, noticing the pace of your breathing, whether it's deep and sustained or shallow and rapid. Maybe it's somewhere in between. The purpose of this practice is not to attach expectations or assumptions or judgments about your breath, but just to feel it within your body, feeling your body moving to incorporate your breath. When you're ready, begin to turn your awareness towards your heart space, connecting with your heartbeat. If you like, you can bring your hands to your heart space if that helps you connect to your heartbeat better. Noticing with curiosity the pace of your heartbeat and how it connects to your breath. Begin to move your awareness down through your abdomen into your lower body, feeling the points on your body where you're connected to the floor. Noticing the feeling of the floor beneath you. How it feels on your skin. Is it cool? Is it warm? Is it soft? Is it hard? Taking in all that sensory information. Knowing that the floor is solid and stable beneath you, supporting you and holding you up as you move through your practice today, keeping you grounded and centered. When you're ready, turn your awareness once more back to your breath, focusing on the flow of your breathing, moving in through your nostrils and releasing out your mouth to the space around you. I invite you now to become aware of your surroundings once more, opening or refocusing your gaze, looking over your left shoulder, slowly scanning the room, taking in your surroundings, looking over the right shoulder, scanning the room once more, returning to a neutral position at the top of your mat. Drawing the hands upward toward the ceiling, shoulders down, fingers internally rotated, reaching toward the ceiling. Planting the left hand beside your left hip, extending and reaching the right arm over toward the left side of the body. Inhale, reaching back toward the ceiling. Exhale, planting the right hand beside the right hip, left arm extending toward the right side of the body. Inhale, reach. And exhale, planting the left hand slightly behind the left hip, right hand on your left thigh or knee, twisting over to the left, looking over the left shoulder. Without moving your body, rotate your head to look over the right shoulder. And return the head to the left. Inhale, and twisting the spine, reaching toward the ceiling. Exhale, planting the right hand behind the right hip, left hand on right knee or thigh, gazing over the right shoulder. Keeping the body still, rotating the head to look over the left shoulder. And returning the head to look over the right shoulder. Inhale, untwisting, reaching to the ceiling. Exhale, turn the palms to face the front of the mat, drawing the hands to either side of the chest as you exhale. Inhale, pinching the shoulder blades together, broadening across the chest. Exhale, rounding the spine, palms together in front of you. Inhale, broadening the chest. Exhale, rounding the spine. Inhale. Exhale 2 more times. Inhale, open. Exhale, round. 1 more time. Inhale. Exhale. Inhaling, returning to a neutral, lengthened spine, allowing the hands to float down to the knees or thighs. Inhale, drawing the chest forward. Exhale to the left, back to the right, over and forward. Doing slow hip circles in a seated position. Taking your time as if you're moving through honey or molasses, synchronizing your circles with your breath. When you reach the top, reverse, going left, back, right, forward. Continuing for 2 more circles. One more. And when you've completed 3 circles, returning to a neutral seated position. Meeting on your mat in tabletop position. Making sure that your wrists are under your shoulders, your knees are under your hips, and that your abdomen is knitted in toward your ribs. I'm going to lift and extend the left leg back, shifting your weight onto the right knee, Releasing, setting the left knee down beside the right. Shift your weight over to the left. Lift and extend your right leg back in an extended runner's lunge. Returning the left knee down beside the right, bringing your big toes together. Shift your hips back toward the back of your mat, adjusting your legs as needed to accommodate your body, walking your hands forward, coming into child's pose. Lift the hips, shifting your weight forward onto your hands, untucking your toes, lifting and straightening your legs, coming into plank. Begin to lower yourself all the way down to your mat. Hands on either side of your chest, preparing for cobra. Inhale, lifting the chest, pulling the heart space forward. And exhale, floating the chest back down to the mat. We'll do this 4 more times. Inhale, lift. Exhale, return to the mat. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. 2 more times. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. Once more, at your own pace. Tuck the toes, lifting through plank. Lift the hips, arriving in downward facing dog, taking a moment to adjust your stance, grabbing any props that you might want. Shifting the weight forward. Step your feet toward the front of your mat, meeting in forward fold. Make sure to adjust your stance to be about shoulder width or hip distance apart, maybe a little bit narrower or a little bit wider, depending on your body. Taking the time to accommodate your needs in your space. If you'd like, you can find a little bit of intuitive movement, maybe swaying or flowing side to side, allowing gravity to draw your upper body further down toward the floor. And once again, finding stillness in your forward fold. Straightening the spine, coming into half fold. As you inhale, exhale, forward fold. Do that 2 more times. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. 1 more time. Inhale, lift. Exhale, forward fold. Slowly begin to lift the chest and the spine, rolling up the spine, rolling the shoulders up, back, and down, arriving in mountain pose. Inhale, lift the arms overhead, small back bend. Exhale, forward fold from swan dive. Planting the hands, stepping the right foot back, followed by the left foot. Knees down through plank. Inhale, lift cobra. Exhale, tucking the toes through plank, lifting into downward facing dog. Lifting the right leg back, stepping it through, walking toward the top of the mat. Forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rolling up, reaching toward the ceiling. Small back bend. Exhale, hands to heart center or mountain pose. We'll do that 1 more time. For the left leg, inhale, lift, reaching up toward the ceiling. Small back bend, exhale, swan dive into forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold, planting the hands, stepping the left foot back, followed by the right. Through plank, coming down onto the mat. Inhale, lifting the chest, cobra. Exhale, down to the mat. Tuck the toes, inhale through, plank, exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, lifting the left foot, drawing it forward, stepping to the top of your mat. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lifting up into exalted mountain. And exhale, hands to heart center or mountain pose. Take a moment to recenter yourself. Reorientate yourself, feeling your feet grounded into your mat and into the floor. Connecting with your breath and your heartbeat. And when you're ready, I invite you to shake out your hands, shake out your feet, stepping to the center of your mat as we prepare for our embodied yoga sequence. Today, I said that we were going to talk about boundaries and consent. And so I want you to take a moment while we're standing here. Begin with your feet a little bit wider than hip width apart. Feet slightly turned out in a V shape as if you're setting up for star pose or goddess pose. Making sure that your knees are slightly bent, giving you some stability as well as flexibility. Bringing your hands over your heart. I want you to think about what boundaries mean to you. What do you think of when you think of the term boundaries? What comes to mind? Any thoughts, emotions, images, sensations? Now I want you to think about consent. What does consent mean to you? What does it look like to you? What does it feel like in your body to engage in consensual activities? Take another minute or so to listen to your body, especially your heart space and what it has to tell you about boundaries and consent. When you're ready, I invite you to release your hands, maybe shake out your hands, maybe move your knees just a little bit and your hips, making sure that they're not locked into place. A lot of times, what boundaries and consent looks like for many of us is that we are taking the first step to prioritize, or prioritizing our own needs and our own desires. And so in EYP, this would be visualized as taking up space. You are making sure that your needs are known. You are making sure that you are seen and heard. So we'll begin to take up space. We have our legs already set for our taking up space pose. We're going to lift and extend our arms out to the side, coming into a modified star pose, broadening across the chest, really feeling like you're taking up space on your mat and in your room. What does it feel like to you to take up space? Does it come easily to you? Does it feel comfortable? Is there a sense of discomfort? Does it feel awkward? Feeling deep within yourself how you show up for yourself and for your needs. Holding for 3 more breaths. One more breath. And begin to release the arms, allowing them to float down, moving your feet, walking your feet in, releasing them, shaking out the pose, releasing it, but keeping a mental note of what came up during that pose. After we tap into what our needs are and how we vocalize them, the next step with regards to boundaries and consent is really figuring out what boundaries look like to you with regards to not only other people, but within yourself. And so the best way to embody the idea of setting boundaries is called the push or drive pose. So to begin with, we bring our legs into a shortened version of Warrior One. So you want to make sure that you are positioned so that your hips are squared toward the front of your mat. You have your first, we'll have our left leg in front of us, knee over our ankle, right leg behind us, slightly bent with our foot turned out at a 45-degree angle. This is our Warrior One foundation. And from there, we can bring our arms up to about even with the chest or the solar plexus, somewhere up here or down here, with your hands up as if you were up against a wall. And I want you to visualize yourself building that boundary with regards to your behavior around a specific person or a specific behavior, and feeling what it's like to create that boundary. What does it feel like in your body to visualize creating a boundary for yourself and for others? Does it feel claustrophobic or being walled in? Does it feel tiring or exhausting to hold up that boundary? Does it feel comfortable and natural and safe? There's no wrong answer. I'm taking 3 more breaths. And begin to release the arms, release the legs, shaking out the pose. In yoga, the left side of your body is the receiving side for energy, whereas the right side is the output of energy, the doing side. And so by starting with our left side, we're feeling what it feels like to set boundaries with regards to other people. Next, we're going to focus on what it's like to set boundaries with ourselves. So bringing the right foot forward, setting up Warrior One on the right side, making sure that your right knee is over your right ankle, left foot is at a 45-degree angle, and then draw your hands once again toward your solar plexus, near your heart space, and begin to imagine building that wall around your activities and your behavior. Sending that energy to create healthy boundaries, what you do for yourself. Noticing if there's a difference between your left and your right side. Any sensations or energy changes. And taking one more breath before releasing the hands, shaking out the hands, releasing the legs, shaking out the energy. If you'd like, I highly recommend that you pause the video, maybe journal some of your impressions so far with regards to the taking up space and showing up for yourself and the construction of boundaries for yourself and for others. Maybe journal about them a little bit, write some tidbit notes that you can come back later. And then when you're ready, you can restart the video and continue on with the last two poses. For most of us, consent can feel uncomfortable at times, especially as a woman or a female presenting woman and trans woman, trans man, non-binary. We can feel like we don't have a say, like we can't say no, that we always have to say yes, that it's selfish to say no, that it's selfish to put up boundaries to other people's behavior. And so I wanted to end today's practice by embodying our yes and our no when it comes to consent. Over the years, I have experienced a variety of different expressions of consent, but honestly, I think the best one that I've ever seen had to do with consent and drinking tea. It was this idea that you can offer someone a cup of tea, but you have no right to force them to drink tea or pressure them to drink tea, manipulate them, or if they're incapacitated, force them to have it. And so it's this idea that if it's not a yes and an enthusiastic yes, it's a no. And to err on the cautious side rather than invalidating someone's choice with your own desires. So we'll begin by doing the yes pose, also known as the receiving pose. And so for this one, we set up similar to warrior one. So making sure that our hips are square. But this time, we'll shift our weight slightly back so that we have a straight left leg and a bent right knee. And we're kind of sitting back on that right foot. And we'll bring our hands to somewhere in between the sacral chakra and the solar plexus. As if we're saying, yes, we're receiving, feeling what it's like to say yes, to receive from others. Taking 3 more breaths in the pose. And on your third breath, begin to release the arms, release the legs.
coming out of the yes receiving pose. Going with a balanced approach, bringing the right foot forward, left foot back, shifting the weight back, coming into yes pose on the right side, receiving from ourselves, saying yes to ourselves. Noticing if there's a difference between the two sides in your approach to them, your openness to receiving. Taking 3 more breaths in the pose. And when you're ready, shift out of the pose, shaking out the energy, repositioning your legs as we prepare for our final pose of embodied no. So for no, it's very similar to our boundaries pose with a little bit more active warrior energy. So begin with the left foot forward, right foot back, coming into that warrior one stance. And this time we're going to have our left hand forward, like we're saying no or stop. And we'll have our right hand in a fist at our hip as if we're ready to hold that boundary of no. And remember, the left side is all about receiving from outside. So this is about saying no to others, saying no to situations, more work, more projects, more activities, and feeling what it's like to hold that position. Noticing if there's any discomfort or other sensations in your body, what it feels like to embody that no and that boundary. Taking 3 more breaths. And on your 3rd breath, release your hands, shake out the energy, release the feet, shake out the feet and legs as we prepare for our embodied no on the right side. So stepping the right foot forward, left foot back, coming into our warrior one foundational stance, making sure the hips are working to square toward the top of your mat. Extending the right arm forward in our stop position, left arm with a fist at your hip, ready to support your no and hold that boundary. Feeling the difference between the external receiving of the left side and the internal output and holding self boundaries on the right side. If you're left-handed, this would be the opposite. Noticing any differences between the two sides, any sensations, thoughts, images that come to mind. Taking 3 more breaths in this pose. On your 3rd breath, releasing the arms, shaking out the energy, release the legs, shaking out the legs. And I invite you now to come to a seated position on your mat. Whatever's most comfortable for you. We're going to take 2 minutes to sit in stillness, thinking about what came up for us in the poses today. I invite you to either close your eyes or soften your gaze as you think back to the poses and any information that came up for you during your practice today. If you'd like, feel free to write down some key words, something to help you remember for after the practice. Otherwise, I invite you to find a comfortable laying position for our resting pose. The purpose of this resting pose, also known as Shavasana, is to help us incorporate our yoga experience into our bodies and incorporate any information or wisdom that we introduced during the course of our practice today. So whether you take Shavasana laying on your back or laying on your side or sitting in a recliner, I invite you to find a comfortable position where you can begin to relax. I invite you to close your eyes or soften your gaze, turning your awareness inward, focusing on your breath. Feeling the movement of the air through your nostrils, into your chest, into your belly, moving, exiting to the space around you. Begin to shift your awareness from your breath down toward your lower legs, all the way down to your toes. And I want you to envision a warm, golden light encircling your feet. Within this golden light, warm energy is sent to your feet, allowing your feet and your toes to relax and release any tension that might be held in your feet. Now envision the energy moving up into your calves. Once again, sending that warm, healing, relaxing energy to your calves, allowing them to release any stress or tension being held there. Moving the energy up towards your knees, releasing any stress or tension that you're carrying in your knees. Allow it to melt away into the floor. Carrying the energy higher still to your thighs. Allowing the stress and tension located there to melt away into the floor, leaving only relaxed muscles. Imagining the energy shifting higher still into your hips and your glutes. Allowing your hips and your glutes to release and unclench. Feeling only relaxation and warm, healing energy. Imagining the warm, glowing light traveling upward into your belly. Allowing the belly to release any tension or stress. Higher still to your chest and your upper back. Allowing the stress and tension to wick away from your body, relaxing them, healing them with its warm light. And shifting your awareness to your neck, allowing it to relax. Sending warm, healing light to your throat. Moving the energy into your jaw and your cheeks. Actively unclenching your jaw. Allowing the tension and the stress to melt away from your face. Sending the healing energy higher still to your forehead. Unfurrowing your brow. Releasing the tension and stress from your forehead and your eyebrows. Envisioning the energy moving higher still to the top of your head, the crown of your head. Allowing your head and your scalp to relax and release any stress or tension that might be there. And finally, I invite you to envision your entire body being surrounded by warm, golden healing light. Releasing any and all remaining tension and stress within your body and your mind. Allowing you to feel relaxed and refreshed as your yogic journey comes to a close for now. And when you're ready, at your own pace, in your own time, I invite you to release the image of the energy, returning your awareness to your breath. Begin to introduce intrinsic, intuitive movement in your fingers and toes, waking up the body. If you are not already on your right side, I invite you to slowly roll over to your right side as you prepare to exit Shavasana and re-enter the world. I encourage you to take one final pause, one final deep cleansing breath as you lay on your right side before rising up into a seated position at the top of your mat with your hands at heart center. And when you're ready, I invite you to open your eyes and refocus your gaze, looking over your left shoulder, taking in your surroundings, reorientating yourself to the space around you, looking over your right shoulder, and turning your head to look from right to left, coming back to center. I want to thank you all today for taking this time for yourself and to explore the concept of consent along with the concept of boundaries. I highly encourage you and recommend that after this video is over that you take some time to really journal about your experiences with the different poses that we explored in class today. Feel free to post comments, questions that you might have about the poses or the practice, and I will try to answer them in a timely fashion. And before I go, I want to leave you with this final thought that
boundaries are hard and that you are not a failure if they feel daunting at times. Setting boundaries takes time and practice. Give yourself grace and compassion for the little things that you do accomplish. And as always, friends, the light and the darkness within me recognizes and honors the light and the darkness within you. Until next time, I'm Chelsea with Savannah Wren Studio. I will see you in the next class. Bye.